31st October, an important day for Indian history and for Maratha history, as Ram Shastri delivered the death sentence to a ruling Peshwa. This was done for the first time in the entire world. Hello and welcome to Arnav Talks. But before we talk about Ram Shastri's sentence, we must talk about his story. He was born in 1726 in Mahuli, but his parents died when he was a child. He was raised by his uncaring uncle. When he was a teen, rebellious behavior started forming in him. Street fights, aimless loitering, and defiant arguments with his guardian. A heated argument broke out between uncle and nephew when Ram gave away the arms he had received as dakshina at a ceremony in Satara. Finally, not caring for his nephew, the orphan was kicked out of the house and had to fend for himself. The 16-year-old Ram was practically unemployable. He started to do menial jobs in a rich money-lender's house. He had to wash the feet of the guests when they arrived, but the sight of a pearl necklace distracted him so much that the bowl of water fell from his hands. He then had an urge to educate himself. When his age neared 20, he travelled 1,000 miles to Kashi. Most youths of Ram's age were married, settled, and well past education. Every school there had rejected Ram. But Balbhat Paigode had accepted to tutor him. From there, Ram Shastri's life went only positive y-axis. I really do a lot of math. In the 1750s, he entered the Maratha government as a clerk. However, his honesty, vast learning, and discipline earned him the post of judge in 1759. But then the war of Panipat happened, and the death of Nana Sahib Peshwa was a major setback to the Maratha Empire. Nana Sahib's 16-year-old son Madhav Rao became the next Peshwa. But even though he was very young and inexperienced, he was an excellent leader. Raghunath Rao had wanted to become the next Peshwa. He might have been pretty happy on the 18th of November 1772 because that was the day when Madhav Rao died. But Madhav Rao had left the Peshwai to his younger brother Narayan Rao. Narayan Rao had become the new Peshwa. He was a rash and judgmental 17-year-old with an irritable temper that soon made him powerful enemies. Also, Raghunath Rao and his wife Anandi Bai had planned coups to dislodge the young Peshwa. In all this confusion, 9 months passed. The Gardis were the royal guards of Shaniwarwada and Pune. Remember that, it's very important later. On 30th August 1773, the naval general Angre had visited Pune when a servant had told the Peshwa and Angre that the Gardi guards had come up in an uprising, but they didn't pay any heed. A short battle ensued between the Gardis and the Marathas, but there was large confusion. After the battle, a letter was written. Let's see what it says. It was murder of every way. Child slaughter, cow slaughter, female slaughter. Every crime and sin was accounted for in that terrible day. The child slaughter relates to the murder of the late Narayan Rao. The gruesome murder of Narayan Rao shocked Ram Shastri and many other courtiers in Pune. Whatever be his faults, he was the Peshwa. Since there was no confirmed heir, Raghunath Rao was to become Peshwa, but he would only ascend the throne after the 13 days of mourning and penance. Despite the cloud of grief that had settled over Pune, Ram Shastri was focused to find out who murdered the young Peshwa. During the investigation, Ram Shastri found a name, Tulaji Pawar. Tulaji Pawar was a servant in Raghunath Rao's house. It was clear that Tulaji had placed the brutal blows to the young Peshwa. The Shastri was convinced that the Gardi uprising was not a mutiny and a well-staged plan to overthrow Narayan Rao. Shastri suspected Raghunath Rao himself of the crime, but with no evidence, Ram Shastri hit a dead end. But then something amazing happened for him. A letter had Raghunath Rao's seal and it had the command to kill Narayan Rao. In the meantime, Raghunath Rao was slowly moving towards occupying his position of the Peshwai. The Chhatrapati of Satara had to give the Peshwai robes to the Peshwa. Raghunath Rao sent his son Amrut Rao to collect the robes on the day of Vijayadashmi. But what does that exactly mean? You'll see soon. Finally, the robes were received and a grand ceremony was set up at Aregaon, 63 kilometers to the east of Pune. The auspicious date turned out to be 31st October 1773. The colorful day that ensued, popularized by novels and films, read something like this. In the packed court, Raghoba ascended the seat. Anandibai, seated on a special throne, looked with pride and relief. Sakaram Bapu, the powerful minister, rose and congratulated the new Peshwa. Just then the door attendant announced that Ram Shastri, the Chief Justice, would like to seek admission to the court. Raghoba welcomed him nervously. Shastri Bua, this is my first court. The position of Chief Justice in my administration has not been decided. I think you are the best suited for the job. Please take your seat and support my administration. The Shastri quietly sat down in the seat. Before the business of the court resumed, his stern voice rang out. Wait, I have something to say. Peshwa Narayan Rao has been murdered. The culprits are yet free. Should not this highest court review the investigation and find out the verdict of its Chief Justice? What is there to investigate? The Gardis mutinied and killed Narayan Rao. The culprits have been demoralized. A few arrested, interjected Anandibai, the wife of Raghunath Rao. The proof is here, the Shastri declared and held before the court the piece of order he had with him. The letter is signed by a person we all today congratulate as Peshwa Raghunath Rao. The letter orders the Gardis to kill Narayan Rao. Seeing his letter in Ram Shastri's possession, Raghoba panicked. This letter is mine, I agree, but I only wanted Narayan Rao to be captured. See the letter I had used the word Dharave to capture. Somebody changed the Dhar to Ma. The new Peshwa blurted out, looking sideways at his wife. A silence descended on the court at these dramatic happenings. The new Peshwa collected his thoughts and then assumed a grim tone, spoke to the Shastri. Shastri Bua, Narayan Rao was very unpopular. He had imprisoned me and restricted my freedom. The Gardis were discontented. Even if I agree to what you are saying and I declare myself as the culprit, I am willing to undergo any penance to repent for the act. I am the Peshwa at present. Tell me what penance is required to absolve me of my sin. The Gardi ringleaders got high positions for their part. Sumer Singh and Kharak Singh are in this very court. What was the discontent you speak about? The uncle got the seat and the government got a new Peshwa. All these are co-conspirators. Kharak Singh, Sumer Singh, Muhammad Yusuf, Tulaji Pawar. They are charged with the highest treason and murder. As per judicial procedure, I have to pass my verdict on the case. I, Ram Shastri Prabhune, the Chief Justice of the Peshwai, declare that based on the evidence received, the role of Peshwa Raghunath Rao in the murder of his nephew, the late Peshwa Narayan Rao, has been established. The sentence for his crime is the death sentence. In all this chaos, Sumer Singh rushed to kill the Shastri. However, the veteran minister Trambak Rao Pethe protected the Shastri and pleaded with the Peshwa not to spoil the occasion by causing harm to the respected Chief Justice. In this melee, Ram Shastri's voice rang out loud and clear once more. I can no longer work as the Chief Justice or in any other position in this court. At this moment, I resign from service. I also have no place in Pune, a capital where sentenced culprit rules and justice is not served. So saying, Ram Shastri left the court. As you have seen from this passage, Ram Shastri was a brave person fearing no one. After this incident, Ram Shastri left Pune along with his family and went to Vai. From there, he led a quiet life but was plagued by his past. If you like this video, like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Also, ring the bell icon